Whether you're a competition shooter, hunter, or precision nut, understanding how the wind influences a bullet is key to wringing the most out of your rifle and ammunition. Welcome to Connect the Dots. This video is part 1 on why we should use and how to set wind flags. This video correlates to a blog that can be found on my website, ctdshooting.com. Now, before we get too far, it's important to understand that reading wind indicators is not a blanket cure-all. In other words, you can't just read the conditions and forget about all the other pieces of the precision puzzle. It's very similar to lifting weights in a football team. Lifting weights is not a blanket cure-all. It does not take the place of remembering the snap count or knowing your assignments. In other words, you can't just lift weights and expect to win a football game. But what you can expect is if you don't lift weights, you're not going to win very many games. Therefore, lifting weights is not a blanket cure-all, it's a blanket necessity. Condition reading is the blanket necessity of precision shooting. It's a fundamental that has to be paired with good equipment, proper shooting technique, and tuning. You got to marriage those things. You got to put them all together if you want to get the most out of your rifle and ammunition. Hi, my name is Jason Stanley with Connect the Dots. If this is the type of information that you'd like to learn about, I'm asking you to do two things: like and subscribe. Those two things will help Connect the Dots continue to grow and get better. Thanks for watching. In competition, easily half the rifles on the line are capable of winning, yet not everyone takes home a trophy. In the field, it's important for hunters to understand that wind often plays a bigger role on bullet impact than the distance to the target. Knowing this can be the difference between a grip and grin photo or a sleepless night after a lost blood trail. The difference in both of those situations is the driver who can put all the pieces of the puzzle together on that day. One of the biggest pieces of the puzzle, the conditions we're shooting in. I can already hear the skeptics. I've never had a coyote stand still long enough for me to put a wind flag out. Good point, but there is a side benefit to using wind flags. Wind flags allow us to see the wind, but they are not the only indicators out there. You got trees moving, you got grasses swaying in the breeze. You might be able to see the mirage moving across the field. I can feel and I can hear the wind. What happens when you use wind flags in practice is that your brain starts to correlate those other indicators. In the field, you then realize where to hold, or you have to adjust your hold, or more importantly, you might realize that this shot isn't right and you don't shoot. To me, the most convincing argument of why rifle shooters should practice using wind flags is during tuning. Almost every rifle shooter out there has tested different loads, or they've tried different ammunition to see which one shoots better. Sometimes those differences can be measured in tenths of an inch. If you're not accounting for, if you're not paying attention to the conditions, how do you know what caused the difference in your groups? Many shooters do not comprehend how much the wind actually influences the bullet. In many cases, the wind will have a bigger influence than the distance to your target. Here is the data for two of the bullets that I shoot for hunting. Notice that the drop versus wind influence. Even better than looking at my data would be for you to input your own data into bisonballistic.com. That website will give you a theoretical map of what happens to your bullet based on different wind angles and intensities. The wind flag consists of two main parts. You have the vanes and you have the tail. The vanes allow us to see the direction the wind is coming from, or the angle of the wind. They can be in many shapes, sizes, and colors. However, the two most common colors would be orange and green. I have pink instead of orange, but the pink and the orange color, that allows us to see if it's a right to left. The green left to right. The tails can be made out of any flexible material. However, ribbon and surveyor's tape are the most common, and those are really good in light conditions. Some competitors will switch out to sail tails, which is a heavier material. You can see that doesn't bend as much. Or in the super strong conditions, which we have here in the Midwest a lot, people will actually put rope on their wind flags. Daisy wheels are another option that gives us more information about the velocity of the wind. There are a bunch of different devices used to gain an advantage in reading the wind. Some of these inventions are super cool. Some of them are just downright bizarre. But don't be too quick to judge a new invention. If something new is invented that works better, it won't be long before we're all using it. A quick internet search will lead you to many different wind flags. They can range from 15 to 70 bucks. That's a small price to pay for the benefits you're going to see in your groups. A cheaper route, and actually the way that I got started, is I simply took a piece of ribbon and tied it to an electric fence post. This was the first wind indicator that I shot over. For a newcomer to wind indicators, a good starting place is one flag. Place that flag about 30 yards out and slightly off center. Make sure that the tail is not dragging on the grass. That one flag will give you enough information to improve your groups, yet not break the bank or overload the brain. Once you're able to pick up on the information from one flag, feel free to place the second one out about 60 yards. 2 flags is going to give you enough information to tell the difference between changes in conditions versus changes in your load. For hunters, 2 flags is all you need. For hunters and non-competitors, I can talk until I'm blue in the face about the importance of using wind indicators. But the biggest justification is going to come when you experience the benefits firsthand. The rest of this video is going to be about setting wind flags for short-range Benchrest. The accuracy and precision requirements that Benchrest shooters face is more demanding than what hunters experience. Therefore, the numbers and the way we set the flags is also more demanding. I fully realize that there's more than one way to set flags. I am simply sharing a standard process that has worked for me and many others with a few tweaks added in. If you are a newcomer to short-range Benchrest, maybe you can use this as a baseline, and then as you gain experience, add in your own tweaks to fit your style. If you're an experienced Benchrest shooter, maybe there's 1 or 2 things in this video that you can take and add to your current process to make it just a little bit better. There are 3 main goals when setting flags for short-range Benchrest. Number 1, we want to make sure that the flags are placed in locations that give us the best representation of what's happening in the field. Number 2, we want to set them quickly. Other competitors should not have to wait on us. And also, the quicker we set the flags, the more time there is to study conditions before we start shooting. And third, we will make sure the process is repeatable. Everything we do in Benchrest is repetitive. It's a repetitive sport. Setting flags should be no different. The number of flags set by short-range Benchrest shooters can vary. I and many others like to use 4 at 100, 6 at 200, and 7 at 300. A valid question is, why not use more flags? You know, the flow chain makes sense. More flags equals more information makes better decisions. But there's 2 major reality hurdles that have to be crossed. Number 1 is brain overload. More flags, there's just simply too much information and our brains can't comprehend it all and make split-second decisions. The second hurdle is, if our brain could handle all the information, it'd be paralysis through analysis. We would be waiting for all of our flags to line up, and that very rarely happens with 4, let alone more. So the numbers 4, 6, and 7, they're a pretty good compromise between getting as much information as we can, but yet still being able to make split-second decisions when to shoot. Setting flags is done easiest with a partner. One will sit at the bench and provide directions. The other will walk the range setting the flags. So you have to be able to communicate back and forth. Lots of different ways you can do that. You can use walkie-talkies, you can use cell phones, here's some directional arrows. But no matter which one you use, they all have their advantages and disadvantages. But no matter which way you do it, it has to be understood that when technology fails, you will go back to hand signals. I don't know how many times I've seen it happen. We go out to 200 yards and our walkie-talkies don't work, or there's no cell phone coverage. And so the person has to walk clear back in and they got to talk to figure it out. You can alleviate all that by having it understood that if something fails, you simply use hand signals. I like to use a retired low-powered scope mounted on a platform. I know you guys are all jealous of this redneck engineering, but it actually works pretty well. If I'm allowed to set flags the night before a tournament or at big tournaments like the Nationals, this saves me a whole bunch of time because I don't have to set up my equipment to set the flags. If I am setting the flags the morning of the tournament, I just use my rifle and the bags because I gotta set my equipment up anyway. I have never done the math, but the surface area coverage of the flag compared to the surface area coverage of what the bullet goes through to the 100-yard target has got to be very low. It's impossible to know every condition that's out there. Therefore, it's important to put these flags in the location that's going to give you the best representation of the conditions that are out there. The diagrams that are coming up next show my initial placements of the flags. Super important to note, these are only starting locations. It's a baseline. Terrain features on each range will override these numbers. I keep a binder with every range I've been to with notes on where to put the flags. There are 3 tips on this part. Number 1, when you go to a new range, pay attention to where the locals place their flags. There's a reason they're placing them there. Number 2, when you get your flag set, check the range. Did people put flags in different distances than what you did? If so, watch them, pay attention to them. Are they showing something different than what your flags are? And the third one, this is a big one, when the shooting starts, yeah, your focus is going to be on your flags, but you should be watching the whole range. You should be looking for reversals. You should be looking to see if your condition's going to hold for the second shot, third shot, etc. So set your flags, but you're going to pay attention to the whole range. I'll get more in depth into that in the second video. To speed up the setting, and more importantly, to lessen the frustration of the people walking the range, I prefer not to use incremental numbers. For example, you'll never hear me say raise it an inch or lower it 2 inches, because what looks like an inch at the bench might be 3 or 4 inches out in the field. So instead, I'll say up, 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 stop, or away from you, away, 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 good. That makes the setting so much quicker, and it gives exact directions on what the flag setter should be doing. I have already set the poles at the correct distances that I want. My practice range is pretty true, so I'm able to use the 15, 35, 55, 75 marks. Notice that I did not put the flags on top of the poles. I set them off to the side. When we set the flags, we want to start with the flags closest to the target. And if you set the flags on top of the poles, sometimes it covers up that farthest flag. All right, it's time to set these flags. I got my beautiful assistant Camden. She's been voluntold to help me out. Let's see how it happens. Now, this is the first time Camden's ever set flags, so I want to show you how easy it is. Okay, away from you. Away, away, long ways. Keep going, keep going. Stop, right there. Beautiful. Now back towards you. There you go, plant it. And now what Camden's using, she's using a bubble level on top of the flagpole. And a mistake that people make is that they put the bubble level on, then they just sink the pole, and then they move the pole to get it level. All that's doing is wallowing out the hole, and now it's not very tight, and your pole wobbles. So you'll notice that Camden's going pretty slow. Make sure that it's plumb all the way down. Okay, up quite a bit. Up, 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 up. Keep going. Up, 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 up. up, 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 up. A little bit more, a little bit more. There you go. Now go to the next, tighten that one. There you go. Now go to the next one and go up a little bit. Up, 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 up. Stop. Right there. Okay, hold on a second. Here's the key part. Right now, that flag is directly below the target card, the paper that I'm shooting. But the rules state that it has to be, the flag has to be below a line from the top of the bench to the bottom of the target card. So what you have to do is you have to get off the bench, off your seat, and measure off the bench. Okay, you gotta come down, Camden. Down, down, down. Down, 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 down. Stop, right there. Yep, you're good. Leave it. We're done with that one. If you don't do that, the difference in this height is going to cause that last flag to be too tall, and you'll be in violation of the rules. In hunter class, I like to have all my poles in a straight line. So we're going to line the rest of these poles up, except for the first one, with that last pole. Move it just a little bit back towards you, Stop. Oh, away from you. Away. That was good right there. We were pretty close to begin with. So set it. So back here, I should see just one pole in my scope. Okay, up quite a bit. You have to use multiple sections of that short pole. Keep going. Okay, go to the next section. Up, 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 up. Up, 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 up. Stop right there now. Can you turn it green so I can match it up with that last one? Yep, there you go. Perfect, leave it, you're done with that one. We're now on to the second flag out. This one, it looks like we're gonna have to move it a long ways. Okay, so it's behind you. Just take off walking backwards. Yep, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. Go, 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 go. Stop. A little bit more. Right there. Yep. So this is the first time Camden's setting flags, and you see how good job she's doing. That's how easy this process is. It's got to come up a little bit. Up, 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 up. Stop. Down, 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 down. Stop. Right there. Good. Leave it. You're done. We are now at the first flag, and this flag is a little bit different. I want it offset about 22 inches, and the reason for that is I can't see it in my scope. Therefore, I want to have a better view with my off eye. So Camden, let's just set the flag like normal. It's going to be behind you, so a long ways. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Stop right there. And now she's going to mark it with this PVC pipe. That PVC pipe is cut at 22 inches. There you go, yep. And I'll just set it like normal. That's going to be the first flag for every discipline that I shoot. Hunter, varmint for score, and group. On the first flag, gotta get off the chair again. Up. Up, up, up. Okay, now hold on, stop. You gotta move out of the way so I can see it. There you go. Up, up, up. Right there, good. There you go, you're done, Camden. This is how I set flags for hunter class. In varmint for score and group, it's done a little bit differently. The higher magnification of my scope gives me more clarity on the target and more definition on the target, but I can't see the flags in the scope. So now I want to have an angle that's offset. So what I do is I take my Redneck engineered flag spotting scope and I attach it to a tripod. And then I line the first and the fourth pole up and I set the flags just like in hunter class. So the fourth pole and the first pole at 100 yards did not change. And what that's going to do, that's going to give me an angle. Okay. Okay, so it's got to go away from you, Camden. Away, away, away. Away, away. Stop. Back towards you. Back towards you. Stop right there. Plant it. And now we set poles just like we did for the hunter class. The end result, it's going to be a nice angle, a nice consistent angle to the flags, to the target. Sorry. It's got to come down just a little bit, not very much. Down, down, down. Stop. Yep, right there. Good. Leave it. Okay, we're now on to the second flag. Same thing as the hunter class. Away from you. Away, 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 away. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Stop. Right there. Plant it. The good thing about this method is that no matter what bench I go to, no matter what range I go to, my angle is always going to be the same. And that's very helpful at the nationals. Height is good. Leave it. Like I said, that's very helpful at the nationals because no matter what bench you go to, your flags look exactly the same. Not a whole lot changes when I set flags at longer distances. For hunter class, nothing changes. I want all the poles to be in a line, so I only see one pole. And then I want the flags to be stacked vertically with a slight gap between each one. The first flag is still offset the same 22 inches. In group and varmint for score, the longer distance allows me to get more flags in my scope. So I will set the last two flags in line. So flags 5 and 6, one pole, looks like one pole in a straight line. And then I'll make an angle from the first to the fifth pole. So the end result is the first 4 flags are with my off eye and the last 2 flags are in my scope. At 300 yards, same idea, but now I can get 3 flags in the scope. So the first 4 will be with my off eye and then the last 3 will be in the scope. I have some experience tips that I'd like to share with you. Number 1, when you get done setting the flags, always get off the chair and make a sight line from the top of the bench to the bottom of the target card, the bottom of the paper you're shooting. If the flags are above that, you got to lower them. There's nothing worse than going to a match and right before the shooting starts, the referees go out and lay your flags down. Number 2, at multi-day matches, I will mark the locations of my poles with these little markers. You simply stick them in the ground. It makes it a lot easier to find those holes or know where the placement is the next day. Third one, and today it's not a big deal, but on windy days, super windy days, most of your flags, your poles, will have a little footstep. you want to put that footstep downwind. So in other words, if the wind is coming this direction, you want to put this footstep on that downwind side, and that'll help keep the pole from bending over in the wind. And the last one, number 4, and this is a big one. The person at the bench, be respectful of the people that are out setting the flags. Most likely they've shot all day, it's in the afternoon, it's hot, and one of the worst things you can do is get in a conversation with somebody and leave those guys out there hanging. Don't do that to them. Get them out of the sun as fast as you can. Be respectful of the people setting flags. As with all my blogs and videos, there is nothing in here that says you have to do it this way. I am simply sharing experience that I've gathered over the last 15 years of shooting short-range Benchrest in the hopes that it might ignite some questions. Number 1, does the end result of your process, when you get done setting flags, does it give a good representation of what's happening in the field? Number 2, is it quick? And number 3, is it repeatable? If not, maybe there's something in this video that can help you out. Until next time, enjoy the experience.